All right, let's go to Marissa in Phoenix, Arizona, where it's the fall, but it's probably still 150 degrees. What's up, Marissa?
Hey, Dr. John, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. It is still really hot here, but I wore a jean jacket last night and I made myself sweat just so I could feel like it was cooling down. I don't know.
You showed them. Way to go.
I did. I showed that thermostat.
That's it. That's like a jean jacket is December, right? I mean, that's like late February or early February is the depth of winter in Arizona is a jean jacket. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, you're probably right. That's not wrong.
Jeez Louise. All right. So it's good to talk to you. What's up? How can I help?
Yeah, so I have a dating question. And I wrote down 3 kind of bullet point question things.
Okay.
So I thought maybe if it's okay, I could just read those.
Absolutely.
And then you could ask whatever follow-up questions you think are relevant.
Yes. And just remember, the last time I dated was like a quarter century ago. So I'll do my best. Is that cool?
This is, yeah. I think that's a fair disclaimer.
I am not. I wasn't good at it then. But hey, let's figure it out. We'll figure it out. Okay, go for it.
Okay, so should I be concerned about dating someone in recovery related to alcohol? And what are some good boundaries that we can set up early on to protect both of our mental health? And then how can I be supportive of their journey?
Excellent. Very cool. Great question. So tell me about this person.
So this person is pretty new in my life, and maybe it'll work out, maybe it won't. But the reason that I felt like it was not relevant, but worthwhile asking maybe somebody that is a professional is, I think I've only dated alcoholics. And I feel like I've done a lot of work the last couple of years. I took some time off dating. I did a lot of work on myself. I'm really nice to myself now. I feel better than I ever have.
Good.
And I recently started dipping my toes in the dating pool again. And it was immediately the first, I was like, that's insane. I feel so much better. And yet, so out of the potpourri of humans, I picked the one that is an alcoholic.
So what if you look back in time, so you've done some work the last few years, and when you look back over your life, what has dating alcoholics brought you? Because it's definitely brought you tough stuff, but I'm specifically interested in what are the things that have brought you good?
I have come to describe the people that I've dated as their personalities sparkle a little bit differently. And I think
that's the most Pinterest on a pillow thing I've ever heard. That's incredible. People who struggle with addiction sparkle differently. That sounds okay. So what does that mean?
I think, I haven't struggled with alcoholism or addiction in the traditional sense, but I think some of the darkness that comes with, or the darkness that leads up to choosing that as a coping mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I can relate to that, or you know what I mean? They usually have a dark sense of humor. It's funny. They tend to be, maybe not the life of the party, but maybe also not the life of the party. You know what I mean? They're very easy to be around.
Hold on. They're not easy to be around. Their altered self is easy to be around.
Yes.
Does that make sense? And so often when you fall in love with somebody who's a chemical addict or struggling with addiction to chemicals, right, of drugs, alcohol, whatever, you fall in love with, there is a space between you and them. And there's comfort in that space. And I know what I'm saying sounds woo-woo, but I'm super serious. You are in love with the safety of not having to fully integrate with somebody else, so much so that you're willing to deal with the abuse, the not showing up, the lying, the financial infidelity, all the stuff, because I can be in love with somebody and be in a relationship with somebody and not actually have to be connected to that person because there's something between us. You see what I mean?
I definitely think that resonates.
So did that come from your mom or your dad? Where did the original hurt come from?
both and then the subsequent step parents. I mean, it
Okay.
was, yeah.
So
It
you
was
have a
a lot.
body that understands relationships hurt. And you also have a part of your brain that knows without relationships, we die. And so you found a helpful middle ground. I can be deeply in relationship with somebody. And then here's, I'm leading you somewhere. I can be deeply in relationship with somebody and not ever have to be all the way in, because they can't be all the way in because they have wallpapered their lives with alcohol, or they've wallpapered a space between me and them with, weed or cocaine or whatever they're using to hide from the world. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so then your addiction becomes, and tell me if I'm wrong, your addiction becomes taking care of. You are going to prove that you're worth being loved by taking care of, picking up, saying it's okay, drawing boundaries, and then letting them push on them a little bit. Is that fair? Or tell me I'm off.
100% accurate.
Okay. So
you've done this before.
You are every bit an addict as they are.
Yeah.
Pia
I
Melody calls
agree.
it love addiction. You're addicted to being in love, but your body can't take being in love. So you go towards somebody who's an addict so y'all can be in love together, but you're both in love with fictionalized versions of yourselves. And then you try to solve it until it blows up, which it inevitably will. Is that fair?
Yeah. Yeah.
And now you've done a bunch of work on yourself and you're ready to plug in. Then, way to go.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
so
it took about 6 weeks to find this person through dating apps and things like that. And I was like, oh, this person's wonderful. And then he was like, yeah, I'm sober though. You understand that, right? And I was like, oh, okay.
So I actually don't have any concern with the idea of somebody being in relationship, loving, marrying, falling in love with somebody in recovery. Not a little bit. I will say if somebody's using actively, then marriage counseling is a waste of your time because you're not dealing with that person. You're dealing with the addiction, right? So if somebody's sober, man, that's the time. I wonder if your hesitancy is you haven't been all in with somebody who's actually looks you in the eye and means it.
I agree with that. I am, I was an only child. I am terrified of actual closeness with other people. And I want to, I've worked so hard to be nice to myself, and I want to protect that at all costs.
Right.
I don't want to go blindly into this and think oh, but this time it's going to be different. And then it's not. But
your relationship can never work if that's the way you enter into it. The challenge with relationship is, or the devil of relationships is, you have to go all in. And when you go all in, that means you could get hurt again. But if you don't go all in, it never becomes what it could be. And so you've done all this work. You are the Olympic gymnast that was almost going to the Olympics, and then you blew out your ACL and tore your Achilles tendon. And you spent 2 years in rehab. And now you are at the mats again, and they're telling you to go do your round up, flip-flop, whatever flippity-flop things that gymnasts do. And you're standing there remembering not being getting carried off the mats because your legs had blown out.
Yeah.
You've done all this work, and here you are. And the reality is, you could go do a round off flip-flop and blow out the other knee. You could blow out the same knee. Or you can go win a gold medal. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I completely agree.
So if you enter into this relationship and you go for it, you're going to have to let him know, I am practicing being in relationship with somebody. And so I'm going to be awkward sometimes, and I'm going to be weird, and it's about me and it's not about you. That is your entry point into this. because you can. What I think's cool about this is he'll have the same language as you. You were addicted to alcohol. I was addicted to rescuing people. And so I'm sober too. I can't heal you. I can't rescue you. I can't keep you sober. What I can be is the best girlfriend you've ever had in your life. Or that's not even true. I strike that from the record. I can be me, which I think is going to be the best girlfriend ever. Okay. Here's what you're going to practice. Clearly stating what you need, clearly stating your boundaries, understanding when you start trying to take care of him or fix him or solve him, that's not your job.
Where is that line between, if somebody asks you your opinion on something, right? Because he is in lots of therapy and group sessions and all of those things. Mm-hmm. And so he's actively working on learning things. Mm-hmm. So when he asks me my opinion on stuff, where are some of those lines of this is me trying to fix you or tell you what you need to do for yourself versus
if you get invited in, it's an invitation.
Okay.
When I see my wife walk through the kitchen in a certain way, and I think, oh gosh, she's in a bad mood, and I start looking around the house to try to solve that bad mood. Mm-hmm. What I have done is taken her autonomy away. I've taken her personality away. I've taken her strength away. And I have made it my mission to fix her because she's clearly broken. She's not operating efficiently right now. That's where I get myself into trouble. That's when I use the relationship. I use my wife to make me feel better about myself. The other side of it is when I see her walk through the kitchen, I can get up from my chair, put my phone down, and walk over and get in front of her as she's walking through and say, hey, you okay? And I let her answer. And she's like, no, I was just thinking about something else. Cool. I just saved myself and all of us a whole bunch of hassle because I was about to start trying to solve something that wasn't even a problem. Or she can say, yeah, I'm really struggling with, I miss my granddad who passed away last year. I miss this. I've got to have a hard conversation with one of my coaching clients. She can speak into it. So if you are invited to give your opinion, give your opinion. That doesn't have anything to do with him. That has to do with you not thinking your opinion's got validity to it.
Okay.
And it does. It never has before because your opinions were a waste of time because you're trying to keep addicts alive. And you're not doing that anymore. Now your opinion's worth being your opinion. And he might not like your opinion, and he may say, I don't want to date because your opinions are stupid. And then you go, well, I'm freaking Marissa from Phoenix, so that's my opinion. Or let's then send me an article, and I'll read it and see if and then we'll have a discussion. And we'll see what I'm saying. Now we're talking about relationship, back and forth, give and take. I think this. Well, I think this. Now we're in an exchange. We're not in a prop me up so I can prop you up, so I can prop me up, so I can prop you up.
Okay.
If you find yourself trying to solve problems without being invited in, that's when you know.
Okay.
Or when you see him hurting and you feel bad, that's an alarm. Okay? Because you're going to rush in and try to make him feel better. And that can't ever be your job.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
You sound scared. Or nervous.
I think I am nervous. I feel like I'm looking for the glaring red flags, and I can't find them. So I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop because nobody's perfect. So yeah, I'm nervous.
Hold on? Do you realize you just contradicted yourself? Okay. You really like this guy, or you like the idea of this guy, and you know nobody's perfect, and yet you're waiting for him to prove himself not perfect. So there's no reason to wait for other shoes to drop. They're already all scattered all over the floor, all over the house, all over the neighborhood. You're not perfect. He's not perfect. And so y'all can choose to be not perfectly perfect together. Or you can choose not to be. But you have so much like physical fear about being intimately connected with somebody. I'm not talking about sex. I'm talking about close with somebody that you go in with so much hedging. I'm waiting for this. I don't know about this. I'm worried about this. Well, it could be that. Just go. And be willing to say, hey, I said something last night. I get takebacks. I get takebacks. I'm a recovering addict. I get takebacks. Or I'll be right over. And then as you're grabbing everything to run to his rescue, you stop and you text him and say, actually, I'm already in my sleeping clothes. Let's get together for lunch tomorrow. I've got some time for lunch tomorrow. And then you're going to feel that maddening discomfort that you couldn't run to the rescue. You're going to feel it. And you're going to have to practice that feeling. And he's going to have to practice being uncomfortable, being alone, being scared, being tired, being exhausted, and not turning to alcohol and not having somebody come run to save him. He's going to have to learn to stand up on his own 2 feet. And then y'all are going to be practicing these things together. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Are you seeing somebody still?
Am I still seeing him? Is that what you're asking?
No, I know you're still seeing him. Gross. I can hear it on you. Like, what about
oh God.
What about you? What about a counselor? You still talking to somebody?
On and off, but I haven't in a couple of months.
Okay, cool. So when do you have a date planned?
Yeah, he's like pretty predictable and reliable and chasing, but not in like a love bombing way. And I feel like a dog chasing her tail that like caught it, and I don't know what to do with it now.
Do you not like him?
I do like him. I just don't. I was like, oh, I want somebody like this, right? And then you have like a few. I've never had like a long list of they have to have. I've never had that, but like these are some of the qualities that I want in a human, in a partner.
Mm-hmm.
And then like they're like, oh, here I am. And I'm like, oh, what do I do with it now?
Here's I'll say this word over and over. I want you just to get this tattooed on your forearm, okay? In the most basic way. Get like one of those arrows over it or underneath it, okay? Actually, don't do this. I grew up in a home where money was scary. Like the times my dad had to go to the grocery store knowing we didn't have any money, but he had 3 kids that had to eat. Okay, it was tough. And my car I bought for $1,000 and I drove it for 6 years and it was like a giant roller skate. It was so teeny. And it was going to break at any moment. And it was a Toyota, so it kept going and kept going. Money has always been, and then I went and got myself in 6 figures worth of debt. Like money has always been a source of pain. And then my wife and I got radical. We paid off everything. I don't owe anybody anything anymore. And now I work at a job. Dave Ramsey's my boss. He pays me, takes care of us really well. And I'm having to practice not being terrified every month when bills come in. I'm having to practice spending money. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because it's terrifying for me because my whole body says this all ends right now. And I don't think that's true. It could all end tomorrow. No question about it. And as my friend Todd says, I don't have a meteorite plan. Like if that happens, if inflation goes to 500% and we're killing our neighbors for water, okay, I'll deal with that when that happens. That's probably not going to happen though. And so I'm going to practice. I'm going to pay for something and I'm going to feel uncomfortable about it. And I'm going to feel that random weird guilt for no reason about it. And then I'm going to enjoy it. And so you are going to go on this date. You're going to look him in the eye and you're going to say, I'm a recovering addict too. So I'm practicing as well. So if I'm awkward or weird, it's about me. It's not about you. And you are all the things I put on my list But I also have never I've never been with this list before. And so we're going to be figuring this out as we go. And you're going to keep no secrets. That way you can be as light as possible. You're not carrying a bunch of cinder blocks around with you. And then all of a sudden, this might work or it might not. But we're just practicing. Because you're in recovery too. And let me tell you this, Marissa. I'm so proud of the work that you've done. I'm so proud of the honesty you have walking into this relationship. And I'm proud of the person you're going to become. He's lucky to have you. And if he chooses elsewhere or you choose elsewhere, great. But if y'all get married, I get to come to the wedding. Okay, cool? Deal.